Coming up, it's a special edition of the show as the ladies take center stage. We bring you women's footy from the West Coast as the USAFL welcomes a new women's team. Say hello to the Centennial Tigers next on this episode of Stateside Footy. Hello and welcome to Stateside Footy, the program that features the game of Australian Rules Football played here in the United States. And today we bring you a very special edition of the show as we welcome the league's newest club, the Centennial Colorado Tigers. They travel to Golden Gate Park to take on the reigning USAFL Division I women's champions, the San Francisco Iron Maidens. Now, this telecast is a production of Women's Australian Rules Football Radio, based in Australia. They reached out to us and asked if we wanted to have the footage on the show. We said, absolutely, let's get the ladies in there. So here we go. Let's go out west for some footy action. WARF Radio's Julia Montesano has the call.
It's the Centennial Tigers' USAFL debut, and it's no easy task because they face the four-time and reigning Women's National Division I champions, the San Francisco Iron Maidens. Welcome to the Golden Gates Park Polo Field in San Francisco, California for this United States Australian Football League women's friendly between the San Francisco Iron Maidens and one of the league's newest teams, the Centennial Tigers, from just south of Denver, Colorado. I'm Julia Montesano. I'll be calling the match today, and the current temperature here is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Conditions are pretty overcast, and as you can hear in our effects mic, quite windy as well. Centennial co-captain Sarah Edwards-Rona has won the toss, and her Tigers will kick to the left of the screen for the opening quarter. So the two rucks go at it in the beginning of this game between the San Francisco Iron Maidens and the Centennial Tigers. Already illegally dispossessed. The Tigers get a good tackle straight away, and it's the captain, Sarah Edwards-Rona, leading from the front. She's got the socks up today. She formed this team on her own. She gets the first disposal ever for the Tigers and sends the mark towards a teammate. So a really good start for the Tigers here. They'll look to go laterally towards their goals. In the ball is Bowie. Now Blecker chases after it here for the Iron Maidens, Gets a quick handball off sideways. Wants it back, does Jess Blecker. Just goes past her. Players now have a chance to fly all over the footy and try and get the quick hands out. Blecker in there once again. Had to get through Edwards-Rona but couldn't. And the captain once again playing her part in these early minutes of the Centennial Tigers' debut USAFL match. Once again, Edwards-Rona goes for a high kick, finds a teammate there in Weber. Weber wants to play on quickly but couldn't find a player. She just gets a teammate to try and paddle it forward. Didn't quite work out for Lucero. So now the Iron Maidens have a chance to come back and head towards their goal. They tap it away and try to get some hot potato footy working out in their favour. Now a kick comes out of the pack. Edwards-Rona chasing after it for the Centennial Tigers. But the Iron Maidens will get there first. Tackled as she kicked it there was Leone. Gets it to Blecker. Ducks one way, ducks the other. Goes towards goal now. Is it going to sail through? It doesn't. It's a behind. So the first score of the day goes to the San Francisco Iron Maidens, 0-1-1. The Centennial Tigers yet to score. They'll try and do it through this kick in. Didn't quite work out. So they'll just tumble all over the footy, these players, and try to get the ball towards their favour. It's a scrappy start, but to be expected for the Tigers. Their first time playing in the USAFL. Ball still bobbles around on the ground. Trying to paddle it forward there for the Iron Maidens was Vicky Powell. Umpire blows his whistle, finds a free kick. And it will go the way of the Iron Maidens. So perhaps a shot on goal here. Might be with outside of the distance for her. Looks like she wants to find a player and play on. Comes in for a kick now, goes high and long. Goes to the pack of players but couldn't find the player that she wanted. On hands and knees trying to get the ball forward was Powell again. Edwards-Rona just comes around the body and kicks it just out of that danger zone. But only momentarily, the Iron Maidens are going to get it back here. Good evading skills there by Claire Colleran. She goes towards goal now, but it's in the safe hands there of Grace Webber for the Centennial Tigers, who's taken a few good grabs to start off this game. Now goes laterally, trying to find a teammate, but could only find an Iron Maidens one, and it was not the option that the Tigers wanted as the Iron Maidens propel it back into the forward line. Players fly past the footy. They'll just try to hack it out of trouble. So 2 players come at the football now, and they'll have a chance to run towards goal. But a beautiful mark by the Tigers, intercepted really well. It looks like Edwards-Rona there once again. The Centennial Tigers not looking like a first-time team. However, as I say that, they've turned it over to the opposition, and you'll notice this player here wearing red shorts. It's because she's on loan from another team in the USAFL. She'll go for a kick now. Found a player all on her own. It just fell towards her feet though, so the Tigers couldn't get out of trouble. Umpire spotted a free kick. Or maybe he'll ball it up instead. So, tight contest here. We've played just under 5 minutes in this first term of the match between the San Francisco Iron Maidens and Centennial Tigers. Trying to get the clearance there for the Tigers was Evie Oglesby, but she might have held it too long and conceded a free kick instead to the Iron Maidens. So, they're peppering the goals here, the Iron Maidens. And they'll get a chance to go once again. Goes for the short kick, just fell out of her opponent's hand. Oglesby tries to clear it out of that space once again. Goes for a dribbler off the ground, doesn't go very far. Back to the Iron Maidens. Look at the speed they come with towards goal. Is it going to go over the defence? No, it won't. They'll have to be brave on the line here, the Tigers. They just try to paddle it forward. Blacker's coming towards the pack now. Former Collingwood VFLW player at the bottom of everything now. Got the hands away, really well done. Off to a teammate. Kick was smothered by Oglesby. They'll try again, the Iron Maidens. They're trying to get ever so close towards goal, but the Tigers' pressure is so manic right now that they've managed to cause a stoppage. So brilliant defensive hustling there by the Centennial Tigers. So umpire just tells the Rucks where to stand and we'll head off once again. So they'll go at it. Oglesby doing a bit of everything today. Now they'll get the kick out. Kick towards goal out of the pack. Won't go over the heads of the defence. Tigers just missed the mark. Ball still there to be won. The kick comes out of the defence, but not very far. Iron Maidens can try and scoop it back towards goal. And they will get the quick hands there through Katie Klatt, the experienced VFLW player. Comes in board. Umpires picked out a free kick. And it'll come the way of the San Francisco Iron Maidens. And the free kick does go to Amanda Bowe. Comes in for a kick now. Goes towards goal. It's a pretty good looking kick. Umpire has rewarded it a goal, so the San Francisco Iron Maidens do get the goal they were after. It's 1-1-7 to the Centennial Tigers yet to score. We see on the replay here, the kick was a monster, went straight through the goals. I wasn't sure if the defender on the line touched it, hence why I was a bit hesitant with calling the goal there, but brilliant long high kick by Amanda Bowe, and she gets the first for the Iron Maidens of the day. They're 1-1-7 leading the Centennial Tigers, who are yet to score. So big game here for the Centennial Tigers. Much has been made about their USAFL debut. They're coming up against the reigning premiers in the Iron Maidens, so no easy challenge. I'll try again here in the stoppage to surge the ball forward. And the Iron Maidens have been caught high, so taking the free kick there is Meglione. Smothered, but I think think the captain from Centennial Tigers might have approached the mark, and it will be brought towards goal now for the Iron Maidens. So costly mistake this could turn out to be from Sarah Edwards-Rona. And Leonie will look to get the second of the day for the Iron Maidens in a minute. Finds Blecker all on her own. How did that happen? Centennial Tigers are all looking at each other thinking, what just happened there? Because we can't let a player of Jess Blecker's calibre get a set shot on goal straight in front. She's not taking her time. She's done this plenty of times before down in Melbourne for Collingwood. And it was a behind registered. So the Iron Maidens now 1-2-8. Jess Blecker with both those behinds. And the ball will come out from the Tigers, but not very far once again. Intercepted by the Iron Maidens. We know they're going to be a tough challenge. They'll kick it forward now. A couple of players fly for the footy. Grace Webber once again getting plenty of the footy for the Tigers, trying to desperately get it out of trouble, but couldn't find a player to go with her. So back to the Iron Maidens it goes. They'll come back to the forward line now. Umpires picked out a free kick there. Looks like it might have gone out of bounds actually, so we're going to have a throw in. Just sorting out the rucks now. So Leonie in there for the San Francisco Iron Maidens and Oglesby there for the Tigers. They couldn't do much with it though, so they'll go for a repeated stoppage here. Up once again. It's a heavy footy. They'll get a run through now, the Tigers. Have to get it out of that danger zone, but straight into the hands of Katie Clutch. She's going to be the general back there today, it looks like, for the Iron Maidens. Got the quick kick away. Couldn't find many people to go with her. Blecker found the footy, kicked it forward. Tried to find her teammate there in Lund. Just goes past her. Now falling towards the floor. Sandwich of players, and the umpire does eventually ball it up. So the Tigers are pretty good at keeping it down there in the forward line and not preventing too many goals, but they've got to try and get it back their way. So the Iron Maidens here will go for a quick step around the body. Kick's not going to make the difference, so Edwards-Rona has to take it under her arm and run, and she does. Gets past one, goes for the kick down the line now. It's a really long kick down the line, goes into a paddock of space, does find a teammate, so really good kick, and good work there by Webber once again to get the kick away. Not going to go very far, the Iron Maidens can paddle it up here, and Katie Clatt goes for a bit of a run to clean things up. Beautiful lead out kick, found exactly who she wanted in Erin Graham. So Graham just went for a short chip kick. This is really good ball movement from the Iron Maidens. Just dropped the mark on that occasion, but they can rebound here with players around the footy. Snap on goal is great. The San Francisco Iron Maidens strike once again. And you'll see on the replay here, there was a lot of players around the footy, but just all on her own there looks like Blecker. She went straight through the middle of the goals, and that's the second of the day for the Iron Maidens. It's 2-2-14. The Tigers are yet to score, so we know it's going to be a bit of a hard one for the Tigers, as we mentioned. Their debut USAFL match against the reigning premiers. I don't know who was in charge of this fixturing, but it's a pretty hard challenge for the new team to come in, but they're showing a lot of fight early in this first term, or late in this first term I should say. We've got 3 minutes to play in these 15-minute quarters. Tigers come through now. Nearly could have got called for holding the ball there. Was Twania Clark. Players will come around the footy now. Oglesby just grabs it and tries to get a quick kick away. Not many players there to meet her, so now it's a foot race. The boundary's going to beat everyone, and we'll have a throw in. With about 3 minutes to play in this first term, it's been dominated by the Iron Maidens on the scoreboard, but the Tigers are doing well to learn the niche things of the AFL world. Oglesby won the tap out, doing really well in the ruck for the Tigers. Tried to get the tap out to a teammate, but the Iron Maidens will have to advance towards goal now. Umpire picked out a free kick, so it'll come back and we'll restart that play again. can hear the wind in the effects mic. It's a pretty windy day, so you can imagine a lot of these kicks are going to go a bit wayward. You can't blame that on skill, you got to blame that on the wind. That is a pretty strong breeze out there. And the Tigers will see if they can get one more chance at goal before the first quarter ends. And the Iron Maidens take the intercept mark though, so they'll have to come back inboard. Just got away from her there, but Leonie's there to pick it up. Handballs it off to a teammate, running past her opponent. Went for the boundary line, just couldn't meet it. Instead, a teammate met her there. Clark tried to get the quick kick away. Found an Iron Maidens opposition instead. And now they'll come through and try and go for goal once again. How's it going to bounce? Straight through the middle. The Iron Maidens are cruising here. A great goal. A great snap there from Amanda Bowe. She's been prominent in this game earlier. And the great hands. Look at the tap work there. That was brilliant from the Iron Maidens. And they've stormed into the lead and shown why. They are the reigning USAFL premiers. Their lead, 3-2-20. The Tigers still yet to score. It's late in the first quarter. We expect the Hooter to go in about 45 seconds. Umpire just waiting to recommence play now. Throws the ball up. Oglesby won the tap out. Umpire said it was a throw. So strong tackling from both sides to start off this game. And Edwards Rona is one of the strongest tacklers for her team, and probably in the league once the Tigers get a few games under their belt. She'll be well known for her tackling, I'm sure. Oglesby tried to get a handball out. She did successfully. Not going to be enough time to score, so players just throw their bodies all over the footy, make sure it doesn't go anywhere. At the end of the first term, it's the San Francisco Iron Maidens, 3-2-20, leading the Centennial Tigers, who are yet to score.
Australian Rules Football? In the U.S.? That's right. The United States Australian Football League is in a city near you. Go to USAFL.com, find your team, check them out. We're a group full of men and women just like you. Join us for the fun athletic competition. Stay for the camaraderie. Log on and sign up to join your team at USAFL.com.
Here at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, we're taking you through the second quarter of the San Francisco Iron Maidens clash with the Centennial Tigers. They're leading 3-2-20. Tigers yet to score in this contest. They have other ideas in this second turn though, heading towards the other side of your screen now. Clark tries to get the quick kick away. Didn't quite work out. Edwards Rhoda there for some support. Just pedaling it forward now, the Tigers. Oglesby has had plenty of the footy so far in this game. Just soccers it towards the forward line. Katie Clatt gets past one player. Now decides to go for a little bit of a kick. Get it towards the outer side. Boundary line awaits these players. They'll need it before it gets there though. Leonie trying to get the handball out. It was tackled as soon as she got the ball. How's the umpire going to call it though? It is a ball up. See in the ruck there for the Tigers now is Evan Sawyer. Swapping over from Oglesby. And now the boundary line will get the players this time round. In fact, it's going to be free kick the Tigers' way, my mistake. They'll come now towards goals. Can they get the first of the day? No. Katie Clatt's there to intercept. Goes for a run. Takes a bounce. Doesn't quite work out in her favour. Gets a soccer off the ground. Gets her own footy back. Goes for a snap towards goal. And she kicks a miraculous goal for the San Francisco Iron Maidens. Katie Clatt, the former Melbourne Uni and Carlton VFLW ruck, gets the Iron Maidens off to a perfect start in the second term. Just look at the replay. She intercepted the ball. Didn't quite work out the bounce, but didn't give up on the footy, didn't give up on the chase, got the kick away and went for a marvellous snap towards goal. That's brilliant work by Katie Clatt, just showing her football smarts and perhaps why she could potentially be on an AFLW list. She extends the lead now to 26 points. The Iron Maidens really flexing their muscles. Of course, the reigning Women's National Division 1 champions, I should say. Won the last 4 titles in a row. That's unprecedented in the sporting world. But the Iron Maidens are one special team, and they're showing why they are that special team today. They get the quick tap away. Really nice ruck work there by Sienni Mamoy. They'll advance it forward now, the Tigers. How good as she kicked it? Umpire didn't see it, so it will be play on. Now the Iron Maidens can come out towards the outer side. Just kick it into space, which works out well for them now. They can get a bit of a run on towards goal. Dribbling it forward there was Blecker, I believe, who kicked that. And the boundary line's going to beat everyone. We'll have a throw in just probably about 25 metres out from the Iron Maidens goal. 3 minutes here in this second turn as the umpire brings it back in. They'll try and get a quick kick away, but met by a heap of bodies. They'll have a go now, and it was smothered beautifully there by Amanda Newell, and she's down. So we're going to see if she's okay. She's just on hands and knees trying to crawl her way off the footy field, something we never like to see. Looks like she got a bit hurt in that contest. She smothered it really well, but I think it must have hit her in the wrong region. So she's really struggling there on hands and knees, Amanda Newell, and the Tigers are rushing to get someone on and also get perhaps a trainer out to help out Newell. She's up and walking now, which is good sign. So real good effort there by Amanda Newell to get up and walk that off. Umpire will go up once again. Boundary line's really close lurking, but both teams managed to keep the ball in space. They're still going hard at these two teams. Boundary line once again lurking. The teams just really want to keep this ball in. They're desperate to get their hands on the footy, but now finally the boundary line will beat everybody. So a 26-point lead for the Iron Maidens early in the second term. And you can hear the support on the sidelines. They're really vocal, especially the Iron Maidens. We're hearing a lot of "Go Iron Maidens!" So really good work there on the sidelines where everyone's supporting. Still hugging the boundary line there are the Iron Maidens. They'll come back towards goal. Could have been a high tackle, but the umpire let it go. Tigers try to get out of that danger zone, but just can't get out of this chaos here applied by San Francisco. They'll handle the ball now, but it was over the boundary line, it seems, so it'll be thrown in once again. Iron Maidens' male counterparts are also drawn from the GGAFL and known as the Golden Gate Roos, so playing at Golden Gate Park. And their team's formed by Jess Estrada Finley and Australian Millie Bruce, who was a former Eastern Devils in the old VWFL. And she was watching on, I'm sure, her team trying to get another premiership perhaps this year. Goal nearly beckoned there for the Iron Maidens. They could have extended their lead to 32 points, but didn't work out. Umpires picked out a free kick though. It'll come towards the way of the Tigers. Twania Clark, lucky enough to be playing out here with her daughter today. Really special. And she's one of the stalwarts of this team and gets it straight to her skipper in Edwards-Rona. So some good movement here for the Tigers. Can they keep it going out of the back line? Edwards-Rona with a kick towards space. Found a teammate. Just couldn't quite handle the footy there was Evan Sawyer. Or Even Sawyer, sorry. And they'll come back into the ruck. Leone doing a good job. Even Sawyer in there now. Leone gets the ball back, goes for a quick step towards goal. Might have been touched. It's going to have to be touched if they don't want to concede a goal, and it does eventually sail through the behind post. So San Francisco now 4-3-27. The Tigers still yet to score in this contest at Golden Gate Park. I'll get the chance to bring the ball back in now. Just assessing your options there, the Tigers defender.
Now kicks it to a 1-on-1. Webber was placed well, but couldn't quite get her hands on the ball. And the ball runs into the interchange bench at the boundary line and will have a throw in. So really good pressure applied by the Tigers here. The goals certainly aren't coming as quick as they probably would have thought. The Iron Maidens. We do get the intercept mark here and can go back in. Sideways, kick is good. We come towards Katie Klatt. Just looks so natural with the ball in hand. Goes to another height. Goes sideways once again. A good switch here by San Francisco. Can they translate it to a goal? They can't. It was a good mark by Blavitt, but played on too quickly, and as a result, the Iron Maidens can get it back now. Can go for a run. Mackenzie's got it with the ball in hand. Goes for a nice kick, and it's a beautiful chip pass to a teammate. So a really, really good run there by Nicole Mackenzie for San Francisco, and they'll have a shot on goal as a result. Coming in for an approach now. It's a nice ball drop. Even better kick. It's a goal. The San Francisco Iron Maidens are absolutely dominating here at Golden Gate Park. And a beautiful goal there from Jess Blecker. Who else? We must of course praise the work of Mackenzie, who did really well to get the short chip kick into her, but Blecker's a known goal kicker. We knew it back in Melbourne, and now we know it in America as well. So 5-3-33. The Iron Maidens, the Tigers yet to score. We'd love to see them get a score on the board today. It'd be a huge historic moment. You hear the wind really causing havoc here at Golden Gate Park in the effects mic. 60 degrees Fahrenheit or thereabouts. And we'll go back in once again. So good clearance here for the Tigers. I'll go for a little run. And the tackling pressure was even better from the Iron Maidens. So it'll come back towards San Francisco's end. Just goes for a short chip kick. Found a player, luckily. They'll come towards goal, and might sail over her head. Jeez, pretty poor defending there from Centennial on the goal line, but they will learn from that mistake. Another goal for the Iron Maidens, and as we look on the replay here, the tackle was what started it all, and now they'll come back in towards goal. And a beautiful kick. It just sailed and sailed and sailed and eventually got there. The defense is actually pretty good on the goal line. I will take that back. It just went over her head. The kick was that good. So 6-3-39, the Iron Maidens. The Centennial Tigers are still yet to score. Oglesby back in the ruck, contesting there against Moi Moi. Umpire said she dropped the ball on that occasion.
Bit of aggression shown there by the two players. Now Twania Clark will get a free kick. She's been one of the Centennial Tigers' best so far. Desperate to try and get it forward, and a great mark taken. That's brilliant work by the Tigers. This might be one of their best chances to create a scoring opportunity if they can do it cleanly. Nice long kick towards goal, and then picks out a player, just dropped the mark. Katie Klatt then and mop up. She'll come towards this outer side, just kicks the space, so it's still there for the Tigers to mop it up if they can get clean hands. Blecker with the strong tackle. Ball still at the bottom of the pack, but now just ripped out. Airy Fairy with the kick, so it goes back towards the Iron Maidens. Mackenzie ducks one way, ducks around another one as well, and great running once again by Nicole Mackenzie. Just set up that last goal and could set up another one here. The Iron Maidens are on the charge again. What can they do with this ball? Blecker tried to spin around and go for a kick, just missed her foot. Now the Tigers with a chain of handballs try to get out of trouble. Oglesby's calling for it. Goes past her and instead goes straight into the hands of Katie Klatt, who wants to play on quickly. Does go for the long ball towards Blecker, former VFLW teammate. Or former VFLW player, I should say. They weren't teammates. In fact, they were a bit of rivals. Blecker played for Collingwood, while Katie Klatt played a bit at Carlton and also at Melbourne Uni. So rivals in Australia and teammates in America. I'm sure they're enjoying the dimensions of this game as Oglesby gets the kick sideways. Webber's there. She's been really good this game. Faded a bit in this second quarter, but no doubt she'll get back on the wheel and keep going as Blecker, who's really stepped up in this quarter for the Iron Maidens,
Gets the ball towards the forward line, find a player all on her own. What can they do here? Quick chain of handballs leads to a behind. So nearly got another goal there, the Iron Maidens, but either way it was good ball movement, and the kick towards goal was pretty good, but you can see the players on loan in the red shorts stepping up from Denver and trying to get a goal on the board. So we're playing 16 aside today, 15-minute quarters. So we've got about 2.5 minutes left in this term before half-time. I'm sure there's a few tired bodies out there, especially from the Tigers' point of view. Now they'll come back out. Just flowing over the head of a lot of players. Great run here by Mackenzie. Who else? She's absolutely brilliant with the ball in hand. Gets it towards goal. The tackle's really good from Clark. Just ripped it out of her opponent's hand. Leone only went as far as her. Blecker comes to meet the sideways footy. Just goes for a snap towards goal. Can it be accurate? It can't. It's a behind. So Blecker peppering the goals, but it's her third behind for the day. 6-5-41. The Tigers still yet to score. Time ticking in this second half. So they'll have to go really quickly if they want to get it to the other side of the field. It's a really risky kick, so they'll have to be quick and try and evade the tackler and get the ball out. And that's the halftime sirens.
My first game, I stood there and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just gonna run. I just kept going, and I kept going to practice, I kept going to the games, and eventually it just clicked. And I was just like, oh, I get it now. Like, this is fun.
Aussie Rules, is also known as footy, is the equivalent of like the NFL here. And so in Australia, they call it AFL.
So in Australia, it's a huge sport, especially for the women. It's getting even bigger.
It's empowering for women, young women.
It's really great to just be able to run around and just have so much fun with a bunch of people that love the same sport that you do. It just gives me this energy that I just can't describe, and it just brings me like so much joy. It's a great physical outlet, but also the people that we play with are just so amazing.
These are the girls that if you want to dress up and go out, they'll be there for you. If you want to be in your sweatpants all day and eat chocolate and watch Netflix, they're also there for you.
I think that this sport has something for everyone. I just feel like anyone and everyone should try it, give it a go, and just see if they like it.
If you're watching this video, it's not by accident. This is for you.
So we're back at Golden Gate Park in San Francisco for the second half of the clash between the San Francisco Iron Maidens and the Centennial Tigers in the USAFL. My name's Julia Montesano, calling the game here today. It's about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, still a bit of wind around, as you can hear in the effects mic, but we're ready to go. We'll see if the Centennial Tigers can get their historic first score on the board as a USAFL team. They're trying to win the clearance here. Oglesby on the tap. And now, once again, Edwards Rona trying to get through with another clearance. Got the handball away to a teammate. And they'll find the quick hands now to do the Iron Maidens. Katie Klatt just fumbled over the footy. Tackle might have slipped a bit high, but umpire didn't see it and will ball it up instead. So, a quick start for both teams, as it has been for the majority of this game. And the free kick did in fact go to the Tigers. My apologies, so the tackle did slip a bit high. And they'll try and get their ball forward. Instead it's going to go back towards the Iron Maidens. So a chance score begging there for the Tigers. But the Iron Maidens won't waste this opportunity. They come through Klatt.
Empty space here on the left side of the ground, but I think the kick might have gone out on the full. So ball come back in now. No, it will be thrown in. Wrong signal, but that's okay. Thrown in now, Oglesby with the tap out. Tried it with the clearance as well. And now the Iron Maidens will get it out. In the helmet there is Quokka. Comes back towards the Tigers. I think they might have kicked it the wrong way. So now the Iron Maidens will get an easy shot at goal if they can get a mark. No, they couldn't. Clark with the strong tackle at the bottom of the pack there for the Iron Maidens is Amanda Bowe. Already scored 1 goal today, did Amanda Bowe. Winning the tap out there, the Iron Maidens once again. They'll come back towards goal. Kick it towards one of those players in the red shorts. Good to see Amanda Newell back on the field after looking a little proppy at the end of the second term. And she'll have to do a lot of defending here as the ball is in the Iron Maidens forward half. Ball comes back in now. Oglesby, the tap just went past her. Now a few players fall to the ground. How's the umpire going to see this? Edwards Rona with the free kick. The captain who formed this team, formerly of the Denver Bulldogs, now crossing over to the Tigers. And Maidens try to surge the ball forward. Chip kick didn't work, but the Tigers win out with some space there. That was a really good fetch out of the pack there from Sam Malloy. But Katie Klatt, you know how dangerous she can be with the ball in hand. Ducks one way, ducks the other. We saw her duck around a few players and get a goal earlier in the game. What could she do with this kick? Turns it over. Had to play on there. Oglesby thought she might have had time to go back, but ran with the footy in hand. Just went for a log, high ball towards the end of the other end of the field. A couple of players fly over the footy, and the umpire will have enough of that and say it isn't going nowhere. So the wind picking up here, you can see the beautiful scenery in the background at Golden Gate Park. A lot of birds and ducks around today. The Tigers though try to get out on their own, and instead it falls to the Iron Maidens. It looks like Mackenzie going for another run, tried to get the quick handball to her teammate, didn't quite read her well. So the ball travels over the heads of a few Iron Maiden ladies. Newell with the quick kick out, but turnover once again. So a bit of back and forth footy to begin this third term. The Tigers will come back. Turnover once again. So a few tired bodies out there after a really fast first half. A lot of soccering off the ground. I know this was a big factor in this game. They're trying to surge the ball forward. They try to really grab this football now and trying to fetch it out of the pack. As Newell gets the hack kick towards the other end of the field once again. Down on hands and knees was a Tigers defender. They're doing really well to get into space, the Tigers. They just don't know what to do when they get there. So they come around the corner, but the Iron Maidens are set up really well at the back line. So they'll come here for a run. Kick to a one-on-one. Evenly poised for either side to make a run here in the middle of the ground. Now they dive over the footy and have enough of that contest. So slow going here in the third term, but once again, I do remind you, it is the first match for the Centennial Tigers. They're the second women's only club in the USAFL after the North Star Blue Ox in Minnesota. So really good work by the Centennial Tigers to put faith in their female players to create their own team. The Iron Maidens, though, have male counterparts, also drawn from the GGAFL, are known as the Golden Gate Roos. So they're coming now with the ball in hand. Kick towards goal was pretty good, but it was short. So good rebounding work there by the Tigers on the last line of defence. And they'll come out of the danger zone, turn it over. So a chance for the Iron Maidens to get back towards goal. The tackle was really good. How's the umpire going to see it? Lets the ball go and play on. Over the boundary line we go now. Not quite. Handball back inwards came from Jess Rojas. Kick towards goal was smothered by her own teammate there for San Francisco. So really peppering the goals now. They'll come back inboard here through Rojas. Sorry, not through Rojas, through Quokka for the Iron Maidens. Wrong number 11. Behind in that shot on goal. So they edge it forward, the San Francisco Iron Maidens, but they just can't get that goal on the board yet in this term. They're still leading by a handy margin in any game, you'd say, 6-6-42. Tigers still yet to score. What can they do here?
They've come really well out of the back line, but they've met an opposition player, and guess who? Katie Klatt comes back inboard now. Will it sail over the defender's head towards goal? No, behind. So San Francisco now take their lead to 43 points in the third term. One of the great sport nicknames of the world, I reckon, the Iron Maidens. Really great team name. And they're proving why they're called that name in this game, as the Tigers trying to prove everyone wrong and see what they can do in this game. They win the free kick on that occasion. So really pushing hard the Tigers in this half. They've come with a new strategy, and Raquel Lucero will be the first to try and execute it. So she's got the ball in her hand now, deep in the back half. Just assessing her options here, can take her time. Goes for a little grubber off the ground. I don't think that was intentional either way. Weber chases after the footy. It's a good target to hit. She's still back there, is Weber, in the bright yellow boots today. Now coming back, really stepping up in this quarter is Quoker, doing really well for the Iron Maidens and getting a lot of ball forward. Leone, another player that's been having a really good day. They're trying to edge the ball forwards. They've really a lot of space here for the Iron Maidens so they can be clean and get another goal here. Snap on goal. Just was behind, so a bit inaccurate to start this third term here, the Iron Maidens. Still leading 44-0. And the Tigers once again doing really well to get the ball out of space. They get it really far down the field, but just that's where it seems to mess up, when they meet Katie Klatt. I think that's because of the calibre of player that Katie Klatt is. So the Tigers will learn. Heavy tackle there. Jeez, came out of nowhere to stop the play, but play still went on. And umpires just picked out a free kick going back to the Tigers. So the tackle from that previous stoppage, previous bit of play does end up getting rewarded, but not from the tackle itself, from another tackle after that. So Tigers come back towards their end of the ground, but turn straight over to Blecker, who's positioned herself really well. She was right next to the umpire, but then came back and took the intercept mark. Now wants to find her teammate there in Bow. Been really good today, Amanda Bow. Now umpire will ball it up now. San Francisco win the tap out. Oglesby just with the kick around the body. Look at the spin there. That was brilliant work from Nicole McKenzie. She's been really impressive this game. And the kick towards Meg Leone is perfect. And she might even test herself here from this distance. No, she looks like she's going to go to the top of the square. Who's there for the Iron Maidens? A couple of players fly up. Amanda Newell in the back. And mopping up there for the Centennial Tigers was Twania Clark, out there with their daughter today. So it's really lovely to see. Iron Maidens get the ball back. Quick snap towards goal. Goes over the boundary line instead. So really peppering at the goals, the Iron Maidens. But so the Tigers really need to work out how they can stop that at least. To get it back to their side of the field. Oglesby just able to grab it out of the ruck, but didn't kick it. I don't know how the umpire didn't see that. It was an airy fairy either way. Play goes on. And the ball up will be had. So still deep in San Francisco's forward line. What can they do here to get another goal on the board? It will be an amazing haul if they can get to 50 in this third quarter. It's a really high scoring game from their point of view. It looks like Jabletka was held without it, so oh no, she was dispossessed, my apologies. So free kick there to Kale Allen. Tigers have to play on quickly. They did pretty well, just evaded the tackler. The space is welcoming, but it's full of San Francisco players. And coming back inboard now is Claire Colleran to Blecker, tackled heavily by Edwards Rona. How will the umpire see that? Too high. So just Blecker looks to play out quickly. Goes laterally, finds Katie Klatt in the back line. Ball does end up getting to her. Goes for a nice kick towards goal. Does it get over the defender? Looks like it did. So Katie Klatt with another goal of the day. She's got a huge kick on her. That was from about 40 metres out from goal. She's had a brilliant game, did Katie Klatt. Jess Blecker with the sideways kick was really smart because every other player was at the goal square waiting for that ball, and Katie just thought, I'm on my own, I'm going to kick this through, and she did. Kicked truly for the Iron Maidens, and now they lead by an even 50 points, 7-8-50. The Centennial Tigers are yet to score in this contest. The second USAFL club from Denver, the Centennial Tigers. Of course, the other is the Denver Bulldogs, and they hold the record of 6 Women's National Division 1 titles in a row, so they'll be hoping that another team from Denver can emulate that success, the Tigers. They're starting their journey now. Doing really well there is Edwards Rona to get the tackle, but look who it is again. Katie Klatt with the high ball towards the forward line. Meg Leone, another one who's been really promising for the Iron Maidens today. Twania Clark with a really nice intercept to Weber, provides the shepherd for her to go for a bit of a run. Elects to go with the handball instead. Umpire will ball that one up. Or free kick instead. Just making sure she heads the right way for her kick. And Lucero does assess her options. She's one who takes her time, I've noticed, Raquel Lucero, I should say. Go for a high little kick. It didn't quite hit Twania Clark, but she's able to go and mop it up. And just go around the body. Found a teammate, probably unintentionally with that kick. Trying to get the hands away. They're still chasing after here, the Tigers. Wrapping up Nicole McKenzie. Really good stoppage there by the Tigers to hold that ball up. Great tap out there from the Iron Maidens. Off to McKenzie. Try to paddle the ball towards a teammate. Now the Tigers reach the ball on the boundary line. Come back inboard with the hands. Clark all on her own. She's not one you want to leave on her own, that's for sure. Twania Clark goes for the kick towards a teammate. Doesn't quite reach her, so she just has to dive on top of the footy. Trying to get the handball away. Umpire said that's all good. Got about a minute and a half remaining in this third term. San Francisco's scoring has been slightly held at bay, but McKenzie will want to get another one on the board for herself perhaps. Comes towards the forward line. Great mark by Blecker. Can take a couple of steps back and go for a big hoof towards goal. Goes short instead. Finds a teammate. They have a bit of space here, the Iron Maidens. Leone with the ball in hand. Goes for a snap towards goal. It's bending. And it sails over the through the behind post, I think. Yes, it does. 51-0 now with that behind. And that's the end of the third term. So San Francisco Iron Maidens 7-9-51. Centennial Tigers yet to score.
Australian rules football? In the U.S.? That's right. The United States Australian Football League is in a city near you. Go to USAFL.com, find your team, check them out. We're a group full of men and women just like you. Join us for the fun athletic competition. Stay for the camaraderie.
We want the champion!
Log on and sign up to join your team at USAFL.com.
Back at Golden Gate Park for the resumption of the fourth term.
San Francisco leading 51 to Centennial Tigers 0. What can the Tigers do? We're looking for their first score ever in the USAFL in this term. They'll win the free kick first up, it looks like. They do. It'll be Gillian Weber to take it. Sister of Grace Weber, who's been having a ripper game today. Here comes one of the best players on ground today, Nicole McKenzie. Turns it straight over though, just as I said that, so now the Tigers will get to come back inboard. They try to go laterally, always looking for Clark, they do. Now they'll go towards goal. It's a really good chance here if they can get it past Katie Klatt. Leone is going to be under a bit of pressure here to get the quick handball away.
They're still in this pocket here if they can keep it there, the Tigers. Iron Maidens clear it out with a long ball. I try to get the ball ever so slightly towards their back end of the ground there to do the Centennial Tigers. That was probably one of their best chances to score, so really improving as each quarter goes on. And we'll just make sure that Nicole McKenzie's okay there for the Iron Maidens. Just went down a bit heavily in that tackle, but straight up back to her feet in the midfield. So Oglesby gets a nice clearing kick towards goal. Empty player there, or free player there I should say. It was Katie Klatt though, which is not the player you want to be free all on her own. Gets it to her fellow VFLW compatriot in Blecker. Now they'll get the ball forward here, San Francisco, with a couple of long balls. Here comes the third long ball. Does the long ball reach the goal square? No, it reaches the dog on the boundary instead to go through a behind post. So 52 points is the lead for the San Francisco Iron Maidens, 7-10. Not a bad day in front of goal by any stretch. The San Francisco, the reigning USAFL premiers. And they'll get the ball back here from this kick in. So possibly a chance on goal here from Bianca Marshall in the red shorts today. Goes for a sideways ball. Found a player all on her own. They'll learn from these mistakes in the future, Centennial Tigers. Amanda Bowe, she's been really deadly in front of goal today. Coming on a difficult angle here. Has a ping. Looks like it's going to sail through the behind post. And it does. Amanda Newell just collided straight in with that post and has ended up keeping it sideways. So we might have to get that one fixed up. But either way, it's a behind to San Francisco, 7-11-53. Centennial Tigers are yet to score. We're right behind them in this fourth term to try and get a score on the board. They'll get a free run out of the back line here, which is really good to see. The Iron Maidens are sleeping a bit there. But they'll get this ball straight back here. Laurie Quoker with the ball in hand, another standout player for the Iron Maidens today. Goes for a deceivingly high kick, but ends up straight into the hands of the Centennial Tigers opposition. And the kick doesn't quite work out. A little bit of an airy fairy. The mark will be paid to Edwards Rona. She thought she had to play on, but still went for the play on anyway. A space there. They just had to talk the two Centennial Tigers players, and the boundary light beat both of them. So new team communication will improve between Blavin and Clark in the future, but for now it's a boundary throw, which isn't a bad thing, of course. Oglesby's been really dominant in the ruck today, I feel. If there's anything to take out of this game, it's that Oglesby is a serious ruck. So really good positive signs here from the Tigers, but equally positive for San Francisco, obviously, as well. With this 53-point lead, approaching 5 minutes in the fourth term. A couple of soccers off the ground to try and get out of this stoppage. Umpire will have a repeated stoppage instead, as the wind continues to pick up here at Golden Gate Park. Oglesby tries to win the clearance and the tap out. Did. Found a teammate. Nearly could have been 50. Now the Centennial Tigers can try and get their first score on the board if they can go long and high. It was high, not very long. Still a chance here to run into the forward line. They're advancing it ever so slightly here. Leone at the bottom of that pack there for the Iron Maidens. It somehow comes out towards the outer side. Blecker got past one player. Now she's got Oglesby to contend with, who just bowls her over. Really great stuff from Oglesby as Blecker returns the favour. Really physical contest there at Golden Gate Park. Amanda Newell comes out with the ball. Straight to Blecker, who's racking up the touches in this fourth term, but intercepts it. Played on quickly, might have come at a cost. Umpire didn't pay the free kick. Give her the benefit of the doubt, as Blavin is wrapped up in that tackle. So deep in the Iron Maidens forward half, they were looking to keep on cruising in this game. Tackle might have been without the ball, so looks like Iron Maidens might get a chance to build on their massive total here at Golden Gate Park. No, it's going to go the other way, the Centennial Tigers. So it'll be in the hands there of Jess Rojas. Goes for a little kick towards the boundary line. And I think it might be a boundary throw, and it is. So we'll have the ball thrown in the forward half for the Iron Maidens. Hear the sirens wailing in the background. And the wind. It might have been a throw there. The umpire did catch that. So a chance here for the Iron Maidens to put another goal on the board. They've been dominating the lead all day. Who will get the kick this time? Players have to clear out of the area to allow for this kick. It's on a bit of an angle. She doesn't take her time. She goes for a little rush kick towards the goal, and it will go through for the behind post. Probably could have taken her time a bit there, but the distance was probably worrying in that sense. Either way, the lead increases ever so slightly, 7-12-54. Centennial Tigers yet to score. And they'll come back in through this back line. High kick towards the boundary line might sail straight over on the full. It does. So it comes straight back towards San Francisco. What can they do here to get their 8th goal on the board? So go sideways here. Might have been a smart option if any players ran towards it, but instead intercepted by the Tigers. So brilliant work reading the ball in defence there from Centennial. Beautiful smother equally by Amanda Bowe. She falls on top of the footy to try and get the ball out. The umpire will make it his now. So now the Tigers are stepping up with little things, but the Iron Maidens are just bouncing straight back. See what they can do this time round as the ball sails out over the full once again. Golden Gate Park. They go towards the goal square. Looks like Blecker was making a lead there. Just ignored it. They'll come towards the pocket. I think that might be kicked out on the full as well. So it'll go back to the Tigers now. So a bit sloppy from both teams here in this little passage of play. That just comes from tired bodies. Edwards Rona's all on her own, but goes long and high instead. And the Iron Maidens will get a chance to come back in board. Katie Clark, and she get her 3rd goal of the day. Goes for goal. Does it bounce over everyone's head? It does, just as it bounced the right way. It's that damn footy. It does eventually get through the goals though, and the Iron Maidens extend their lead now to a whopping 60 points over the Centennial Tigers. What a game from the San Francisco Iron Maidens. We look on the replay here. Katie Clark just streaming out of the pack once again. Wanted to get probably the goal herself, but the bounce ended up working perfectly for the player out the back, and it's an easy snap through the goals to extend their lead to 60 points. 8-12 in terms of accuracy, which is really good from the San Francisco Iron Maidens to score this many goals in 15-minute quarters with 16 players on the field. So we'll wait for play to recommence. The wind picking up in the effects mic, you can hear it. Approaching 10 minutes. Great clearance there by Oglesby. Wants to get the kick away to a teammate. Just edges it ever so slightly forward for the Centennial Tigers. Leone back there on her own for the Iron Maidens, can clean up and send it back the other way though. Didn't find a teammate, so can come back here through Blavitt. Ducks around one, gets around the other. Now we'll get a handball back. They just weren't communicating there, and the Iron Maidens can come back towards their end of the field. Tigers doing really well, but Blecker with an equally good tackle to stop them in their tracks. Clark just tried to duck one and duck the other, and I think she ducked too many players. Was tackled high actually, so be able to get the ball back now and see what she can do with it. A forward for Ray Beckins here for the Centennial Tigers. If they can get it long and high enough, Oglesby dropped the mark, but tackled Katie Clatt straight away. Just fell into her back though, so So Evie's going to try and have a shot for goal here. Evie Oglesby, what can she do? Can she get the first of the day and the first ever for the Centennial Tigers to go through for a point? Still a really good result for the Centennial Tigers. Evie Oglesby, you've just created history, scoring the first behind ever for the Centennial Tigers, the women's only team, the only women's only team in the USAFL after the North Star Blue Ox from Minnesota. Let's see if they can convert that into a goal and reduce the deficit even more. Iron Maidens will come back towards their end of the field. They use the outer side to try and do that. Getting the quick kick off the ground were the Tigers. Another entry inside 50, another kick towards goal. Is it going to go through the behind post? It does. No, play on. Umpire did hold the flag up, but we popped it straight back down. So the Iron Maidens now looking dangerous here with a couple of players free. You don't want Blecker and Quoker free. They're dangerous on their own. Imagine them together. Oglesby tries to get past a player, gets past two and gets the kick away. Really well done by Evie Oglesby. And the Iron Maidens will wheel back around and kick towards the other side of the ground. Quoker chasing after the footy now. She's got time to collect. Good shepherd provided there. Now Quaker will turn it straight over to Oglesby. So Evie Oglesby, I mean, without her, the Centennial Tigers would be in a really, really bad place. She's showing how she can be one of the dominant rucks of the competition, really. Got the ball forward. Now the Iron Maidens get it back. Quaker once again all on her own. I think a few tired bodies out there just leaving their players. And now Blecker on the boundary line. Umpire picks out a free kick there. I'll wait to see what he calls before I call it, because there's a few times in this broadcast where I've stuffed it up, so apologies about that. So she was hugging the boundary line, which means it will be a boundary throw in. Oglesby won the tap out once again. I've been really impressed with Evie Oglesby today. Equally, I've been impressed with Grace Weber, who got the clearance to her captain, Edwards Rona. Got the little chip kick. Didn't go as far as she would have liked. Now the Iron Man's come back. And the mark is taken, so really good work there to get the kick away. Blecker was the target. I think she might have been pushed out of that one, so see if she gets the free kick. No, it went out on the full. So Tigers come back in now. Amanda Rowe can pick it up cleanly and get the kick towards goal. Boundary line still hugging everyone. Oh, look at this. Blecker just streaming in off the intercept. Does she get it through the goals? No, just missed. So San Francisco extend their lead back to 60 points, 8-13-61. The Centennial Tigers are one behind. The hooter to end the game is about to sound. As Amanda Newell will have to get it to the other side of the field very quickly if they're any chance of getting their first goal of the day and of their lifetime. The Centennial Tigers, Edwards Rona goes for a long high kick. Oglesby was her intended target but flew over her head. Just to come back and get the ball now. Just shoved off her player. Really well done by Evie Oglesby. Got it to Grace Weber. And that's the hooter to end the game. It's the San Francisco Iron Maidens prevailing in a massive way. 8-13-61. The Centennial Tigers can only manage one behind, 0-1-1. It's a 60-point victory for the San Francisco Iron Maidens here at Golden Gate Park. In terms of players that did really, really well today for the Iron Maidens, I thought Katie Clapp was probably my best on ground personally. She kicked a couple of goals and just looked dominant, intercepting everything that came her way. Jess Blecker as well, just positioned herself really well, got the ball towards the forward half on plenty of occasions and just looked really calm and composed with it. Meg Leone was fantastic. I thought she was really good in the ruck and provided a solid target down back and up forward. Nicole McKenzie and Laurie Quoker, I love their run. They were really fast and did really well to get in some good spots, and Amanda Bowe in the forward half probably rounds out my top 5. For the Centennial Tigers, you can't go past the captain, Sarah Edwards-Rona. She formed this team. She's the heart and soul of the Centennial Tigers, and she showed that today. Grace Webber, really well, provided a target and some run and carry too. Twania Clark provided another target and just looked composed with the ball in hand. She was able to slow things down and just educate the rest of the teammates around her, so she did really well. I thought the best on ground for the Centennial Tigers was by far Evie Oglesby. She was fantastic in the ruck, got some clearances as well, and just really dominated and showed what a promising side the Centennial Tigers can be. So signing off from Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, it's the USAFL clash between the San Francisco Iron Maidens and the Centennial Tigers. It's the Iron Maidens who got over the line by 61 points. You were joined by Julia Montesano on the USAFL call, and to make sure you can watch more USAFL matches, feel free to go to the YouTube channel. Watch all you want. There's plenty of games on there. We'll see you there.
Congratulations to the Centennial Tigers, and welcome to the USAFL. Also, congratulations going out to the San Francisco Iron Maidens. Great job, ladies. Thanks to Julia Montesano, who gave us a great call of the game there, as well as Peter Holden, who reached out to us and offered us the coverage of the game that you just saw. We now continue with a flashback of sorts from 2019. In our last 2019 episode, we showed you the Boston Demons and Maine Cats teaming up the Nationals to win the USAFL Division III Premiership. We mentioned the Boston Demons men's team, but the Boston Lady Demons also had some players representing down in Sarasota for Nationals, and this time out, we'll show you the Division II Women's Grand Final, in which members of the Boston Lady Demons joined members of the Philadelphia Hawks, Arizona Lady Hawks, and Baltimore Dockers, as they went up against a combined team from the DC Eagles, the Des Moines Roosters, and the Arizona Outlaws. Thanks to the USAFL for the game footage, and thanks to Peter Holden, who brings you the call.
Hello and welcome to Lakewood Ranch in Florida, the premier sports campus for the 2019 United States Australian Football League National Championships. We're here on Field 2 for the Women's Division II Grand Final. It is the DC Eagles versus the Philadelphia Lady Hawks. Now, being Division 2, that means both sides do have assistance from other sides to try and get the full squad numbers together. We play normally 18 aside in Aussie Rules Football, but for this tournament, we are playing 16 aside with a bench usually of up to about 6 players. For the DC Eagles, they are joined by players from the Des Moines Roosters, the Arizona Outlaws, and one player who was a DC Eagles player, now a Hawaiian Eagle player in Susan Swig. For the Philadelphia Hawks, they're wearing the white jumper, as you can see to the left of screen. They're joined by players from the Arizona Hawks, the Boston Demons, and the Baltimore Dockers. So a bit of rivalry on 2 points here. First of all, with the Arizona having 2 sides, the Hawks and Outlaws being represented on either side. And of course, the DC Eagles used to be the Baltimore-Washington Eagles. Of course, they split. It was an amicable split to try and grow football in the region. And therefore, you got the DC Eagles on one side and Baltimore helping Philadelphia on the other side. So plenty of pride on the line in this Women's Division II Grand Final. The Philadelphia Lady Hawks won the Division II Grand Final a couple of years ago when they teamed up with the Portland Sockeyes. It wasn't a Grand Final that year, it was just a round-robin competition, but because we've got to 6 teams in the Women's Division II this year, we've had 2 pools of 3, had semi-finals, and we've ended up with DC and Philadelphia in this Grand Final. Philadelphia will be going to the right of screen, as I said earlier, wearing the white jumpers, and wearing the blue jumpers of the DC Eagles going to left of screen for this half. I'm Peter Holden. It's great to have your company. We're all in readiness. Umpire raises the ball aloft, waits for the hooter. Doesn't quite hear it, so he might blow the whistle to get things going. And he does. Now, in this format, we do play straight 20-minute halves with no time on for goals or the ball going out of bounds, unless, of course, there is an injury which they may decide to stop the clock, depending on the seriousness of said injury. Normally in Aussie Rules Football, we play 4 quarters with time on, stoppages for ball ups, the ball going out of bound, and for scores. So as they try and move on, Erica Sacchi just got absolutely rolled over there. The umpire said it was fair play on. It will come out towards the wing side of the ground. I can see lurking around there for the DC Eagles. A player to keep your eye on, Joanna Gleason wearing the number 5 today. Towards the half-forward flank position, trying to get a boot to ball there was Cassie Cox of the Arizona Hawks playing for Philadelphia today. Umpires pulled out a free kick and signalled it the way of Philadelphia. As Cox will go back, she's a long way out from goal. I think Taylor Dugan's standing on the mark there. She's about 55 metres out from goal. Kicks it in towards the forward 50. Just bubbled around off hands. No one with clear possession. Trying to run through there was the player in the number 15. Apologies that the numbers are out of order here on this DC Eagles sheet. And Amanda Mora, who's from the Arizona Hawks. One player to keep an eye on today. Another player to watch who just dropped the mark then and get bowled over. Wearing the number 6 there was Katie Ree. Now, Katie Ree, of course, we should point out, from the Boston Demons, also does a bit of media in the area, and she's got a great Twitter handle called The Retweet. So keep an eye on that if you're ever online, The Retweet from Catherine Ree of the Boston Lady Demons. Ball on the far side of the ground, Eagles will send it towards the half-forward flank, over the head there of Kendall Jennings, who had been dominant in the earlier rounds and semi-finals. Taking the mark back there was the one and only Danielle Marshall. Now, Danielle Marshall is the first American woman out of the United States Australian Football League to sign a professional contract in the AFL Women's competition. She'll be playing for the Western Bulldogs in 2020. Just recently, she was over there during the winter playing in the VFL Women's competition. Now, technically, the first player out of the USAFL to be signed to a AFL Women's team was Jessica Wichner. She's an Australian, but she played for the Boston Lady Demons back around 2015 at the USAFL Nationals. DC Eagles attack now towards their half forward, again looking for Jennings. She was caught behind on this occasion, trying to knock the ball forward. Holberstadt tried to get in there, couldn't get the football out. Hurry kick around the corner. I think that's Melissa Armstrong, who won a grand final on this ground 3 years ago for the San Francisco Iron Maidens. Pardon me, it wasn't a grand final, it was a regular match, but they took out the championship. It was almost like a grand final when they played the Denver Lady Bulldogs. The winner of that game was going to take out the Division 1 title. That was an unbelievable game in blustery conditions as the ball goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. Pressure being applied there by Angel Bishop from the Arizona Hawks, and we'll call for a ball in. Lurking around there, you can see wearing the number 17, Alex Trollope of the DC Eagles. The umpire will be asked to throw the ball back into play and try again. Umpire throwing it in from the boundary line. Some differences here in the US game compared to the semi-professional game being played back in Australia in the AFL Women's competition, where if the ball goes out of bounds between the 250-metre arcs, that's along the wing position, it's a last disposal rule, so the opposition will get a free kick as opposed to a ball in if the ball just dribbles over the boundary line and out of bounds. And the boundary umpire will actually come 10 metres back into play and throw it back in, opposed to what the umpires are doing here, which is more of the traditional way, which is essentially from the line itself, throwing the ball back in. Punched away by Marshall. Saki was lurking nearby, trying to pick it up there. I think it was Anna Bailey. Saki comes away with it. Saki on the right boot, driving Philadelphia towards the centre of the ground. Quick spin out of trouble. DC Eagles will send it back from once it came. Taken away here by Danielle Marshall. Whoop, came off the knee. That was a interesting approach. Getting it back there, the number 40, Kristen Lau. She's got it towards half forward. Marshall went to ground. Hurry kick around the corner. And close towards the boundary line. Going in the layer tackle. Molly Holberstadt. Squeezed out. Going to ground there, Taylor Dugan. Hurry kick around the corner. Taylor Dugan now, should I say. Just at her feet. Melissa Armstrong nearby. Oh, Marshall again. Like a hot knife through butter. Just weaved through them. And kicked it long towards the wing. Not much really on there. They've got some numbers back there, DC, cutting across that midway point of the wing. And they've done well to repel. Teresa Segal was the original one to set it all up. Marshall was there, came off her hands. Jennings went to ground. Marshall went for the soccer skills, overran the pill on that occasion. Alexandra Clayton had tried to get in there for the DC Eagles. Cleared out by Philadelphia. And going for a bit of a run here, if you don't mind, Cassie Cox. Goes towards half forward. Ball's on the deck, in dispute. Diane Walsh wanted to get in there from Boston. Ball's kicked out by DC. Oh, geez, that was a bit harsh. Umpire won't pay it for in the back. I thought it was by Trollope. Accidental, but should have been there. Umpire's pulled out a free kick now. And going the way of the Philadelphia Hawks. As I mentioned earlier, Philadelphia teaming up players from the Arizona Hawks, Boston Demons and the Baltimore Dockers. DC teaming up with players from Des Moines Roosters, Arizona Outlaws, and one player from the Hawaii Eagles. And we do have a player down behind play who seems to be injured now. Our clock will keep ticking. It's a clock that we've set to tick upwards. And as I mentioned earlier, normally it would be a 20-minute half, but obviously that may go on because the clock's being stopped. They may add time to this half. So our clock, see that as unofficial. As we wait, let's just hope that that the possible injury there is just a bit of a knock, something sore that hopefully isn't too serious. Players are taking the opportunity to take a drink while they can. Very, very hot conditions we've had here in Florida this weekend. Cooled down a bit on the Saturday afternoon with a nice breeze coming through, but it has been very dry and very hot into the afternoon here. And that really tests the depth of each side. Some sides, particularly in the Division 1, do come with a short bench. And even though in mild conditions, you'll be fine with that in a short game. In these hot conditions, you really do need a deep bench and plenty of reserves through the tournament to keep rotating players through because the heat will come into play at some stage. May hear at some stage the speaker go in the background as well. The main field, Cooper's Field, is to the left of us. We're on ESPN 3. They'll be having the Women's Division 1 Grand Final and the Men's Division 3, 2 and 1 Grand Finals respectively. Player being escorted into the golf cart, and they'll take her off to the medical tent to be assessed. As I said, let's just hope it's nothing too serious. Let's hope it's a bit of a knock or a sprain, something that doesn't hamper their footy for next year. And still allows them to be in a state where they can go and enjoy the party later on at Siesta Key. Great hospitality being put on for us here at Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and all around the Sarasota-Bradenton area. So we've lost about 2 minutes of play so far. Well, the clock's ticked for 2 minutes. If the umpire has blown time on, that means we'll get that added onto the 20. No score either side yet. We're at the Women's Division 2 Grand Final. This is the second time the National Championships have been held here at the Premier Sports Campus. Last time back in 2016. As the golf cart takes the player off the ground. The Portland Sockeyes, along with help from players such as from the Seattle Grizzlies and from Tampa Bay, won the Division 2 title here in 2016. And for the San Francisco Iron Maidens, their first in what's been a run of 3 national championships so far. They began here in 2016 at Lakewood Ranch, Florida. The umpire just making sure that the card is off the ground and all's in readiness, and players will recommence play again. Marshall is going into the ruck, as you can see here. Looks like now is Jennings going up against her or off the ball. Just watch very closely here. Saki we can see just on the ball, and watching her very closely is the 13 of Mackenzie Medlin. Be an interesting matchup. Also on the ball, Amanda Mora from the Arizona Outlaws, or the DC Eagles. Umpire holds the ball aloft to restart play. And in fact, it's going to be Gleason versus Marshall. Trying to weave in there was Terse. Couldn't get her way through heavy traffic. Emily Rice and the Des Moines Roosters for DC got it across there to the 17 in Trollope, whose kick was cut off by Melissa Armstrong. Armstrong has represented the USA Freedom before at the International Cup. But her kick was picked off, and the DC Eagles will send it back over the head. Lurking around there is Meter. Couldn't get there, but her teammate Medlin did. Bumped off the football on that occasion, Moira. Saki on the right. Sky high was the football. It was dropped in the end by Cassie Cox, who had to go back and get it under pressure. Emily Rice is there. Rice trying to sift through and see if she can pick up the football. Can't do so. Well, when she did, she was immediately caught. The umpire says that's no prior opportunity. We'll call for a ball up. There's the punch forward. She dribbles along. Meter tries to go in there. Taps the ball in front of herself. Couldn't pick it up. Marshall comes in there, lays the tackle, and the umpire says it's a reset play. No score either side. Well, the clock shows 11 minutes gone, but we lost about 3.5 to 4 minutes due to injury. Marshall punches it forward again, intercepted, hand pass over the top. Her little kick away goes nowhere, just straight to the ground. Kicking around the corner again, Emily Rice, the Des Moines Roosters, try to put it in the direction of Miriam Mita, who had it momentarily. Now the ball towards the half forward. Came off hands, read well here, struck the tackle. Hurry kick. Works out okay. Lindsay Terse again goes for a run. Terse's kick, a bit of a spiral, almost hit the water carrier as they try to get off the ground. Hand pass is Lau, who moved it long. It was a great setup kick there by Moira to go inside 50. Put the Hawks defence under all kinds of pressure. Try to jump in there, Samantha Worrell. The Baltimore Dockers playing for Philadelphia. The umpire says it's going nowhere, ball up. Trollope was on the bottom of that pack. Gleason versus Marshall again. Gleason wins it. Marshall tried to get a hurry kick out. Picked off. Trollope around on the right. Bounced away from Marshall, who tried to position herself then. Hurry kick out towards the half-forward flank. Amanda Morrow goes chasing after the football. Oh, good run down. Umpire said no. Fair hand pass out. Play on. DC Eagles send it back inside their half. Marshall hands up. On towards the boundary line. Olivia Husing was there from the Arizona Hawks playing for Philadelphia today. The umpire will ask for the ball back. That's the difference at the moment between Division 1 and Division 2 sides. Division 1 sides are made up solely of players from the one club, while for Division 2, these sides are made up of sides that couldn't get the full complement, the full squad, which would be at least 16 on the side and some bench players. So they're ably assisted by players from other clubs. In fact, DC Eagles numbers have been very strong, and if they keep recruiting as they are, they should have enough to go up to Division 1 next year, which would be very exciting for women's football in that region, particularly in the East, because the West have been very strong with numbers, the West Coast, and we certainly need to see some stronger representation at Division 1 from the Eastern Seaboard. Umpires blown the whistle and said it's a free kick going the way of the DC Eagles, laying on the ground there, Amanda Mora. In fact, on the Division 1 side of things, is like, try and go through my mind just here, the real flying the flag hope in Division 1 for women's football has been the New York Magpies, where the other five are from the other side of the country when we talk about Minnesota, Denver, Portland, Seattle, and San Francisco. So if DC can get to that Division 1 status, that'd be very, very exciting for women's football in the East, and hopefully maybe Philadelphia can join them at Division 1 status at some stage down the track. Good mark taken here by Alex Trollope inside the 50. She's going back and considering a shot. It'd be very difficult from this distance. Comes in, unloads. Off the boot, off hands. And I think it's Armstrong who's just got back there, who's kicked it around the corner to try and come out of defence. Saki, best of speed. The Philadelphia veteran gets on the right boot. Comes towards the centre circles in the middle of the ground. Pressure being applied there by Bross. Pardon me, not Bross rather, it was Segal. And then taken away there by the number 16 and Sobral. Towards the half-forward flank, Miriam Meads got run down. Umpire says holding the football. Free kick going the way of the Philadelphia Hawks. And I think that's Samantha Worrell, who's got the footy there. She goes for a nice little chip pass. Works out okay, staying wide, maintaining possession. No score either side yet in this grand final. No team giving an inch. Good sliding mark there. Looking by the shorts, I think that might be Emily Rice who took that. Rice goes up the line. Come off hands. Work from Armstrong, who did the spoiling there against her opponent, the number 13 in Mackenzie Medlin, which in the end forced that, I was going to say forced the ball and getting a free kick out of it. Melissa Wilhelm, should I say. I keep saying Armstrong. My apologies. I'm used to saying Melissa Armstrong, but of course she's now Melissa Wilhelm. My apologies, Melissa. As coming through there, the Philadelphia Hawks with a long kick. And the ball will just dribble over the boundary line and out of bounds. Seen over by the number 7 in the end for the DC Eagles. Might be Hannah Bailey. Don't quite have that 7 there on my sheet. As the umpire actually pulled out a free kick, pardon me. That's going the way here of Philadelphia. The long kick across the face. And we'll go out of bounds. We'll call for a throw-in. As we wait for the ball to be thrown back into play. You can hear the men's Division 3 grand final going on in the background at the same time. Looking to the women's Division 1 grand final coming up later on, where San Francisco is playing Seattle in that one for the second year in a row. Jennings trying to bust her way through. Ball came, dropped it in the end. Tennessee, I think it was. Going after it there. The Eagles get it out only as far as Marshall, who's pushed up the ground. Marshall went right, then went left. Sold the candy beautifully. And that's a great kick. Finding Melissa Wilhelm. Again, apologies, Melissa, for saying Melissa Armstrong earlier. Melissa Wilhelm now. She was Melissa Armstrong when she won that grand final on this ground 3 years ago. But now, Melissa Wilhelm, and also had an addition to the family during the year. Congratulations, Melissa. There's a harried hand pass out. Plenty of effort on that ball. It finds Jennings, and it's new additions to some of the families here. We know that for the Denver Lady Bulldogs, retired was Lindsay Kastanek, because her and her partner Haley have a baby due soon. And on the New York side of things, congratulations to Drake Casillas, who I think something like about 8 weeks ago had her second son in Atlas. I think about 18, 19 years apart from her first son. Super effort, superhuman effort there by Dre, who's managed to have her child 8 weeks ago and show up for this tournament. New York, of course, got through to the semi-finals, which is an improvement on some of their past performances. Shows they're in the right direction. Just fell to Seattle, but shows they're a threat to be reckoned with in tournaments to come. Here's the long kick up the line. Try to find their Tretchler. Or maybe kicking in danger there. Players' hands were on the ball when the player ran through. To explain those watching Aussie Rules for the first time, if the player has their hands on the ball and you go to kick it while that ball is on the ground, that is known as in danger. And that's to protect that player. As we see coming away with the ball now is Trollope for DC. Oh, good mark. And just puts the hands up, says that ball is mine. Alexander Clayton says, everyone, stay away from me. I have the ball and this is my kick. Clayton looks to drive DC deep. And Jennings with an interesting, I don't know if it was a punch or an attempt at the mark because she got shoved at the last second, but Marshall took it away in the end and tried to find Casey Troy. And she went over the boundary line and out of bounds. And the ball might have gone over before she touched it, so it's out of bounds on the full. And that means a free kick going the way of the DC Eagles. Alex Trollope. Trollope with the footy. She is outside the 50. Kicks it. Just trying to square it up. Looking for Dugan. Got knocked out of it by Wilhelm. Wilhelm kicked it straight into the player. He's on the mark there. Hurry kick. Dribbles and over the boundary line and out of play. So we'll call for a throw-in. We're probably about 40 metres out from goal. Saki doing the ruck work against Gleason. Brought it to ground. Well, stolen out of the back. Hurried shot on goal. How does that look? It is through for only a minor score. But that gives the lead nonetheless to the DC Eagles. they go to one behind. Philadelphia, no score. And on the time clock, we have gone 20 minutes already, so we have stepped into injury time due to the stretcher earlier, and we could be looking at about 3.5, 4 minutes by my calculation. As the kick is long and intercepted on this occasion by Kristen Lau. Lau on the left boot, goes towards centre half forward. Marshall steps across and takes the mark. Danielle Marshall, second year playing Aussie Rules. Was the Division 2 best and fairest last year. So Wellholm kicked up the ground. Now, is that a downfield free kick dealt with afterwards? Or what's the... No, gave it away afterwards. Interesting decision. So it will be a free kick going the way of the DC Eagles here. It happened off camera, so we didn't quite get the full look at that. I think it's Medlin who's kicked the ball forward. Looking for Jennings, straight through her hands. Marshall will come away with the ball, though. Marshall on the right boot. Up the line. Mark taken here again for the DC Eagles. A tense, low-scoring affair. DC one behind. Philadelphia, no score. In comes Saki, brings the player down. Bubbled around. Tritcher, or Trichler, should I say. Moved inside 50. Trying to get a hand pass away. No, dropping the ball. Good tackle laid on there. And I think it was by Lauren Kelly. She'll take the resulting free kick for the Philadelphia Hawks. The kick a bit wobbly. Hopperstad tried to come in and cut it off, but found its intended target. Here's the ball now up the line on the right. Oh, just at the feet there of Stablin. Oh, she's caught by Trollope right up against the boundary line. Umpire's blown the whistle and says a free kick. She's protesting was a hand pass. The umpire says, no, 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 that's a throw. Alex Trollope has the footy at the half-forward flank. King to left of screen. Looks to let rip with a long kick towards the pocket. Went over the head of Jennings, and Gleeson got a hand to it. Forces the ball over the boundary line and out of bounds, and they'll reset play. So we've gone roughly 2.5 minutes into what we're dubbing injury time, when the clock stopped, officially at least, earlier with the injury. The player had to be taken off on the golf cart. Again, our clock is unofficial. It will count up to the 20. And then not account for any injury time added on by the umpires. As we wait for the ball to be thrown back into play. Ball just bounces around. No ruck with the footy. Jennings there trying to put a hand in. Dugan as well. Exaki over around the footy. Umpire says too high. Free kick. And the hooter sounds for half-time. Now, of course, what happens here in Aussie Rules, if you take a mark or you get a free kick before the hooter sounds and you haven't played on, and then the hooter sounds, you have the chance to go back and have a kick. No matter where you are on the field, she's within scoring range, so she's electing to have a kick. As long as she doesn't play on, it's legal. And it's a bit of a grubber. Now, it wasn't quite stopped. The umpires are going to have a chat. I thought that might have been a point, because if it dribbles and it's not touched and it goes through, it will count, but the umpire is saying no. It will not count as a score. The umpire has the final say. DC Eagles, one behind. Philadelphia, no score.
My first game, I stood there and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm just gonna run. I just kept going, and I kept going to practice, I kept going to the games, and eventually it just clicked. And I was just like, oh, I get it now, like this is fun.
Aussie Rules, is also known as footy, is the equivalent of like the NFL here, and so in Australia they call it AFL.
So in Australia it's still huge sport, especially for the women. It's getting even bigger.
It's empowering for women, young women.
It's really great to just be able to run around and just have so much fun with a bunch of people that love the same sport that you do.
It just gives me this energy that I just can't describe, and it just brings me like so much joy.
It's a great physical outlet, but also the people that we play with are just so amazing.
These are the girls that if you want to dress up and go out, they'll be there for you. If you want to be in your sweatpants all day and eat chocolate and watch Netflix, they're also there for you.
I think that this sport has something for everyone.
I just feel like anyone and everyone should try it, give it a go, and just see if they like it.
If you're watching this video, it's not by accident. This is for you.
This is the Women's Division 2 Grand Final here at Lakewood Ranch in Florida between the DC Eagles and the Philadelphia Hawks. We're not too far away from beginning the second half. Umpire holds the ball aloft and we are underway. 20 minutes to go in Women's Division 2. Who will take home the title? A hurry kick away by the DC Eagles. They're now going to the right of screen. DC Eagles wearing blue, wearing the white. The Philadelphia Hawks, they're going to the left of screen as Barbara Dempsey, the oldest player on the Philadelphia Hawks side, moves it forward to Casey Troy. Goes the hand pass to Saki. That's a good mark up the line. Philadelphia yet to score in this grand final. Here's the kick towards the top of the 50. Great mark. Abigail Meklas with the footy from the Arizona Hawks, playing for Philadelphia today. Oh, it's a finger tipper. Great mark taken. Pulling it in, Cassie Cox of the Arizona Hawks. She's going to be having a shot on goal from about 40 metres out, directly in front. Kicks, and it looks pretty good. And they're in front. Wowee. What a way to start this second half. Philadelphia, one straight 6. The DC Eagles, one behind. And you can put that one down to Cassie Cox. Directly in front, went back, had a crack, and put her side 5 points up. As you can see, only about a minute and a half gone. Plenty of time, obviously, for DC to respond. But what a positive way to start. Here's the hurry kick for the DC Eagles, looking for Jennings. And Wilhelm brings it aground. And the umpire says, oh, sling tackle too high. Free kick. It's the responsibility of the tackling player. Make sure that the player that they're bringing to ground isn't slung or taken high. And on this occasion, the umpire said it was a little bit too reckless from Wilhelm, saying that Gildy must have been just as it came down, maybe the arm got over the shoulder there, and said it was too high for his liking. And Jennings is going to get up, feeling a little bit worse for wear there, feeling the neck, maybe a whiplash. Get some water, and we'll get the ball back. Now, if a player is injured, they are able to give the ball immediately to a nearest teammate, but that player then has to immediately leave the ground if they do so, if they, of course, feel that they're unable to take the kick. And this occasion, Jennings thinks that after a drink she's right, and she's thinking about unloading a bomb from a distance. Gives it a ride, but it's going to fall halfway. Trying to get in there, Angel Bishop. Wilhelm takes out another player again. She's being a wrecking ball in the first couple of minutes of this second half. Kick around the corner. Moira goes towards the top of the goal square. 3-on-1, numbers favouring the Hawks. Meter goes in there. Sliding on hands and knees. Hurry kick along the carpet. DC looking just for some open space. Worrell put on a good tackle. Miriam Meter on the ground, trying to put a leg out to put boot to ball. Didn't work out. Ball, cried the crowd. Umpire's not buying into it. Lurking around on the outside, Halberstadt, and the umpire will ask for the football back. Right on the goal square here for the DC Eagles. They trail by 5 points in the second half of this Women's Division 2 Grand Final. Peter Holden with you on commentary for the United States Australian Football League. And Peter was there, saw the ball squeeze out. Knocked along by Cassie Troy. Now stepping back and having a crack around the corner. I think might have been Hannah Bailey to try and square it up. Umpire's pulled out a free kick and says it's going the way of the DC Eagles, Alex Trollope. Now she's a long way out from home. She's going to need a tall on the goal square. She's going to need a Jennings or a Gleason back there. Trollope. Close the player on the mark, swings the kick, and umpires paid a mark. And that was taken back there by Barbara Dempsey, right on the last line of defence. Dempsey for the Philadelphia Hawks. Sees Marshall out towards the pocket, floats it. Marshall just has enough time to take the mark while feeling the heat, while feeling the pressure from an Alex Clayton that was fast coming at her. Goes wide to Lindsay Terse. Terse with a footy. Looks to play on, gives the hand pass off to Marshall, who goes for a run. Then kicks it long up the wing position, run in front of our camera spot. Kick up the line, one bounce, Rice is there. Takes it, gets on the boot, comes in, board, had two. They couldn't quite work it out between themselves as Halberstadt went in there. Meter was right off the side of the pack. If they could get it to her, I think Niche was around there. Now got it to Halberstadt. Halberstadt kicks it inside 50. Jennings was calling forward as she was running on by. Got brought down. Ball they cry. The umpire's thrown the whistle away. Says he's not paying it. Trollope went through. Couldn't get there. Melissa Wilhelm immediately caught. Put into the ground. In goes Jennings. Jennings on the right boot. Empty goal square. The ball is bouncing. And Jennings has put the Eagles up. Smart thinking there by Jennings, just to slam it on the boots, realising everyone from Philadelphia got sucked into following the ball. No one was home on the last line of defence, and all she had to do was just dribble it through. And the lead changes here at Lakewood Ranch in Florida. DC Eagles 1-1-7, Philadelphia 1 straight 6. 1 point the difference, Eagles in front. Still plenty of time in this second half to be played out. As we said, the early lead for the half went for the Hawks. The Eagles have taken it back. Saki is immediately caught on this occasion by the number 13 in Medlin. Mackenzie Medlin. Gets on the right boot, swings it towards the half-forward flank. Ball is dropped. Dugan dancing around, dancing. Gets on the left boot, drives it inside 50. Jennings going again, Wilhelm going with her. Jennings trying to use the bigger body to the advantage. Oh, that could be a throw. And that will be a free kick to Melissa Wilhelm. Wilhelm playing in defence when normally she'd be like a half-back flanker midfielder. This time playing deep pocket, trying to keep that lockdown role on Jennings, which is an interesting tactic. Mark taken here. And the DC Eagles will try and attack forward, this time going through Emily Rice from the Des Moines Roosters. Playing today for the DC Eagles. Rice on the right boot. Goes inside, not quite inside 50, just ended up going out again after an attempted mark that was spoilt. Umpire says that's a throw against Trollope. And it will be a free kick going the way of Lindsay Terse, who asks for the football back. Terse has the footy. Plays on quickly. Oh, drew the player and danced the other way. Terse goes towards the half-forward flank. One-on-one contest. The support arrives and she pushes. It's like a domino effect. She went to push one player and she knocked over two in the one go. Whoops. As Trollope goes to ground, and we'll call for a ball up. And we'll reset the play. Working around the football there is Angel Bishop. Crowd cheering for Eagles, you can hear in the background as Marshall does the ruck work. Eagles lead by a point. Ball bouncing around awkwardly there, trying to slap it down. Tritchler. Saki wants to go back. Oh, Halberstadt came through. Halberstadt got the hand pass out. Picked off though. Welch kicks it in towards the middle of the ground. Pike chasing after the football. Pardon me, it's not Pike rather. It was Medlin. Medlin's knocked it on. Now trying to get there is Lau. Kristen Lau kicks it inside 50. Can she find a mark? No, it was the fingertips and it didn't quite hold. Halberstadt comes in there, lays the tackle, offering support for Clayton, and the umpire will call for a ball. At the moment, time is the DC Eagles' friend. They've got a good 10 minutes to go in this grand final, but they hold the lead by a point. And as long as they keep it down their end of the field, they'll be taking home the D2 Cup. Tried to get a hurry kick out of there was Casey Troy. Ball cry the crowd. The umpire not blowing the whistle there. Saki got to get around the player, and Dugan does well, goes up the line. Ree can't quite get onto the football. The ball goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. Of course, the Boston Demons train out at John Merkley Park in Boston. Had the privilege of going by their ground to take a look. They weren't training at the time, but very big field out there by the beach and not too far from downtown Boston. Let's hope they get more numbers. They can grow that women's program out there at Boston. Great to see their men's playing in the D3 grand final as well. Some positive signs there for footy in the northeast of the United States. Two players down there after a bit of a heavy clash. Umpire making sure they're okay. Now, I don't think the clock stopped. I think we're still ticking, as opposed to earlier when we stopped the clock for the golf cart that was required. As time is still ticking here. Down, I think it's the player, I think it might have been Ree that we're talking about that might be feeling a bit worse for wear. The number I can see just on the angle of the screen. Let's have a look. Just getting to her feet now. Yep. As scoreboard there indicates, 1-1-7 to 1 straight 6. It's DC Eagles with the lead. Clock's ticked past 11 minutes here. And I don't believe we've stopped time. So we've lost about 35, 40 seconds in play. As Marshall did the ruck. Coming across there is Lau, whose kick was intercepted. Now running through there was Bishop, immediately caught, and ball. They cry. The umpire gives a free kick to the DC Eagles. You see the DC Eagles bench just there in the distance. Them cheering on their players crazily. Taking the mark is Alex Trollope. She says, "Go long!" And that's what they'll do. On the right boots. Kicks it deep, and there's a mark! Great mark there for the DC Eagles. I think it might have been Clayton that's taken that. And I tell you what, I think a goal might be enough to put the Philadelphia Hawks away. She unloads. It's away to the left. And will register as a minor score. They extend the lead by 2 points. 1-2-8 to 1 straight 6. As here's the kick back into play. Oh, geez, it was dangerous there for Cassie Cox. Managed to get around her opponent. And the ball will dribble over the boundary line and out of bounds. So a 2-point lead, but all Philadelphia need to do is kick one straight between the two big sticks for 6 points to retake the lead. The only breathing space it really gives DC, if Philadelphia has a shot on goal and they miss, they'll give them at least a 1 point buffer. We've got probably about 7 minutes remaining here in this grand final. DC holding on by 2 points. Taken out of there by Cassie Cox. Delivers towards the half-forward flank. Doesn't quite sit well for anyone. The kick smothered by Terse. the hand pass. Pike came through. Umpire said free kick. The DC Eagles. You hear the Eagles chants going up in the distance. The Eagles supporters feeling confident. Philadelphia trying to find a consistent and direct way forward, but the time is running out. Time is not their friend at the moment. The kick is up towards the wing position. Good mark, and almost pulled over by our own teammate there, Alex Trollope. For those who have just joined us, wearing the blue, on the team in front by 2 points, the DC Eagles, assisted by players from the Des Moines Roosters, Arizona Outlaws, and the Hawaii Eagles. Taking on the team in white, with the Philadelphia Lady Hawks, marked there to Marshall of the Hawks. She's actually originally from the Arizona Hawks. We're assisting the Philadelphia Lady Hawks today, as well as players from the Boston Demons and the Baltimore Dockers. Marshall's kick is intercepted, though. And again, any DC Eagles player that takes a mark at the moment is going to chew up the maximum time they're allowed. Because if it's in their forward half, they just have to keep killing the clock, and the Division 2 title is theirs. Marshall manages to pick up the ball off the ground, though. Thought about a kick, went with a long hand pass over the top instead. Can the Hawks move it forward? Unlikely as Rice comes through. Thought there was a whistle, stopped. Then set up and went with a long kick. Barbara Dempsey takes a mark. Dempsey of Philadelphia. Under 5 minutes remaining in the grand final at the half pack. They're struggling to get past their own centre wing position. Meter was waiting for it, but Marshall just went flying through the air and took the mark. Marshall now pressing forward to try and create something for them. And she finds someone. Mark taken in front of the scoreboard. Half forward flank. As we said, they've been struggling to get past their centre wing position. They've only really done it once this half, which resulted in a goal. Can they find their way home again? Off hands. Nicholas was trying to create the pressure. Meter sees the ball over the boundary line and out of play. Of course, no time on for the ball going over the boundary line here at this level of footy, which is different to the professional level. So this is helping kill the clock for the DC Eagles every time the ball goes out of bounds. Marshall took immediately out of the ruck, shrugged off the player, got through traffic, kicked it long, and it is out of bounds. Or was it gone through for a point? We checked the goal umpire. He says, I refer to the boundary umpire, who says it's gone out of play. So the ball will be thrown back in. There's about 3.5 minutes remaining in the grand final. Can the DC Eagles hold on? The ball went out the back. Hurry snap around the corner by Terse. Into heavy traffic. Was the ball thrown out? No, it wasn't. Saki with a kick. Oh, it's off the side of the boots. And will only register as a point. It is 1 point the difference in the grand final. Could we see a draw? Will we go to extra time? That could be possible. Oh, 1 point the difference. Mark taken here by Jennings, who's pushed her way up the ground, says, I've got to take control of the situation. Goes sky high with a kick, very, very, very close to the boundary line. Mark taken by Trollope. 3 minutes to go for DC Eagles to hang on. They only lead by a point. She goes towards the pack. Dempsey flew up in the air. Meter was there, immediately caught and dumped. Hand pass came out. DC Eagles work it up the line. Hurry kick on the left into open space. Oh, it's found a Philadelphia player. They're going to switch it down the corridor. How will the ball bounce? Unkindly there for Halberstadt. It got away from her. Hand pass going backwards. Trollope got pulled down. In fact, pardon me, was Medlin. Dragged to the ground by a heat-seeking missile and Danielle Marshall. 2.5 minutes, clock's ticking. Philadelphia trail by a point. Goes inside 50. Beat everyone. Ball hit the ground. It's going to be Stacks on the pill. Can anyone get clean possession out? The umpire's pulled out a free kick. He must have adjudged throw. Oh my goodness, what a time to pull out of that free kick. And it's Cassie Cox. She's already kicked one from this position. She's looking for her second. Directly in front. The kick is flat. It's low, but it's good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. From out of nowhere, the Philadelphia Hawks lead by 5 points. Is this daylight robbery? They didn't look like it. It looked like with 3 minutes to go, the Eagles were up the line and were going to kill the clock. But somehow, they get it down the guts. Ball in dispute. The umpire, out of the hat, pulls out a free kick and gives the lead through a free kick to the Philadelphia Hawks. Wowzers. But here's the last roll of the dice for the DC Eagles with a minute to go. They attack again. It's on the edge of their 50. Hand pass going backwards was courtesy of Niche. Now trying to get in there was Treschler. Bounced away from her. Holberstadt. Everyone's getting in there. They've got to create space. Marshall tries to create the pressure on Trollope and try to get a kick. Oh, it's close to the goal line. Can they get it back? They can't. The ball's out of bounds. 30 seconds remaining. They need Jennings or Gleason to be able to take it out of the pack and snap it through. There's not much time. Philadelphia holding on by 5 points. Back in the play. No clear hands. Jennings didn't bend over to pick it up. She just overran it. Trollope could have been taken high. The umpires missed that. Ball's on the ground. Everyone's jumping on top of the football. Now he calls for the whistle. According to our clock, 10 seconds. Gleason has her hand up. Marshall's pointing direction. We've got it as time up. There's the hooter. Is it gone? Is it over? They're still playing on. The kick was by Cox. Was that the horn or wasn't it? It is. It's over. Oh, unbelievable finish. Here in the Women's Division 2 Grand Final at Lakewood Ranch, Florida for the 2019 United States Australian Football League National Championships. Your winners, the Philadelphia Lady Hawks, with players from the Arizona Hawks, Boston Demons, and Baltimore Dockers. 2-1-13 over the DC Eagles, 1-2-8. What a grand final.
And that will do it for this special edition of Stateside Footy. Thanks to Women's Australian Rules Football Radio and the United States Australian Football League for the footage you've seen today. And thanks to Julia Montesano and Peter Holden, who did an excellent job bringing us the game calls. Also, thanks and congratulations to all the ladies that you saw play in this episode. Coming up in our next episode, it's another match between the Boston Demons and the Maine Cats, once again played on neutral ground in New Hampshire. Until then, I'm Bill Robert. Thank you for watching Stateside Footy.